Hello there. I really wasn't expecting to be back this soon. It's just I really enjoyed doing the other video, and also I've been kind of drowning in a lot of stress and assignments and things recently, and what better escapism is there than Doctor Who? So I thought today I would do a doctor ranking video, and I've tried to rank the doctors before, but I find it very hard. Firstly, because I do love all of the doctors. That is a disclaimer. I love all of the doctors. There's not a single doctor I do not like. So putting any of them at the bottom feels really mean, and I'm like, oh, my poor babies. But also the top of the list is very hard because there are about 5 doctors that I kind of rank quite similarly, and I love them all in almost equal measures. So I thought that I'd do a preference reveal today to reveal my true colours and see who I really love the most. So I'll dive right into it, but I'll do another disclaimer. These are my opinions. This is not a definitive ranking. I'm not saying that the doctor at the top of this list is the best doctor and the doctor at the bottom is the worst doctor. This is just my opinions. And secondly, I'm not going to include the War and Fugitive doctors because I just don't think it's fair, because they don't have that much screen time, and I don't know. Anyway, let's get on with the video. So at the bottom of the list, and like I said, I feel awful for having anyone at the bottom of the list, but it's the 6th Doctor, Colin Baker, and I'm so sorry, Colin. I just don't really vibe with his Doctor on screen. I think I agree with a lot of people who say that Colin really shines in Big Finish, and if his Big Finish Doctor would be classed as a separate incarnation, I would rank that one much higher on the list. I think I just think he's kind of mean and arrogant, and you're gonna be like, well, you're such a hypocrite because you're gonna rank the 10th Doctor a lot higher. But anyway, he just is arrogant in a kind of annoying way, and he's mean to Perry. And don't be mean to Perry. Don't fucking strangle her. That's not normal, is it, Colin? Number 12, we've got William Hartnell, and again, I feel really bad. The 1st Doctor, I must add. I must kind of differentiate between the actor and the Doctor. But yeah, I think with the Hartnell era, I don't really go back to it much. So I feel as though I just don't have the connection to the 1st Doctor that I have with a lot of the other Doctors. He does have some banging stories. I love the 10th Planet. I love Time Meddler. But yeah, I just don't really have much of a connection to the 1st Doctor. And I hugely respect him. He was the Doctor that started it all, and without Bill Hartnell, we'd have nothing. We wouldn't have the show that we had today. So major respect for Big Bill. I disagree with the preference revealer here. For number 11, I'm going to have Paul McGann, the 8th Doctor. And again, it's just, I think, my lack of experience with him. That sounds fucking weird. I've watched a TV movie and I absolutely love him with Lucy Miller. I am a Sheridan Smith stan, and I loved that kind of series of stories. I've also listened to a few of the ones with Nicola Walker, because I'm also a Nicola Walker stan, but I've not dived into all of his Big Finish stuff, and if I had, I'm sure that he would be much higher on my list. But because, again, a lack of a connection to the Doctor, not his fault. It's not his fault. He's not been on the telly as much. But yeah, he's my number 11. So number 10 then, we've got the 5th Doctor with Peter Davison. And I feel like I like him a lot more than that. But then again, if I look at the rest of the Doctors, I kind of agree with that they're higher than him. That makes no sense. But yeah, I do really like, I mean, I said that I like all of the Doctors. I do really like Peter Davison as the 5th Doctor. But as I was saying to George, who is my boyfriend, if you don't know that, I don't really vibe with the Peter Davison era, and I've said that for a lot of things now, and I must sound like the most negative ninny in the world. But Jesus, I love Earthshock, I love Caves, I love Castrovalva, I even like Time Flight. It's just my asthma's playing up. Peter Davison causes me asthma. Jesus Christ, I'm moving on before I say anything controversial. Number 9 then, inside number 9, we've got Jodie as the 13th Doctor. And again, I feel bad for this because I've got real connection to Jodie. I am also a West Yorkshire lass. I even went to college in Huddersfield, which is where she is from, Greenhead College. If there's any alumni out there, shout out to Annabelle Shirley, who also went there. So yeah, I love Jodie. She's a northern lass just like me. I think, again, it's kind of a lack of stories. If she'd been given series 4, she'd probably be like one of my favourite Doctors. But I just kind of think, in my opinion, that she has kind of lacked in the material, and it's not her fault. But yeah, I'm sorry about that. She did have some bangers though. I love Power of the Doctor. It was brilliant. But yeah, I'm moving on before I again get cancelled. Number 8 is Matt Smith as the 11th Doctor. I thought that he'd be higher because I revisited the Matt Smith era in like November or something, and I really appreciated his performance. That sounds stupid. But yeah, I feel as though, in a way, he's kind of underrated, which you might be like, well, I was on Tumblr in 2011 and everybody loved Matt Smith. But yeah, they did. But I still feel as though he's underrated. I feel as though people don't quite appreciate how nuanced his performance is, particularly in Series 5. By Series 7, he's just a sex pest. But again, scripts, I guess. But yeah, I love Matt Smith as a Doctor, and I loved him when I was little. I was a huge 11th Doctor fan, so shout out to Matt Smith. I hope that you're in the 60th. Number 7 then, we've got John Pertwee as the 3rd Doctor. Now, he's just an icon, isn't he? I feel as though he should be higher, but then again, all of them should be higher. They're all kind of tied now. Well, they're not yet, not quite tied yet. I think that the 3rd Doctor era is such a comfort era because I just love how it has a kind of family vibe. Does that make sense? I know they're not actually a family, but you know, the Brig and Benton and Joe, they're all just like a little family, and John Pertwee is just a cool, suave guy that punches people occasionally. Well, he doesn't punch people, but then again, like, I remember watching, I think it's the Sea Devils, and tweeting like in that episode, in one of the episodes, John Pertwee says to the Master, he's like, I don't like violence, and then he just like karate chops the Master. So you're just a hypocrite, John Pertwee, the 3rd Doctor. I really need to call them by their numbers instead of their actor names. Number 6 then, we've got Sylvester McCoy as the 7th Doctor, and I know that might be controversial that he's so high up. I know some people don't like him because they're morons, but I love the 7th Doctor and his era, again, banger. Maybe not season 24. Then again, I do like season 24. I probably like it a lot more than most people do, but season 25 and 26 are just great, particularly I don't know what just happened then. I just forgot how to speak English, which is kind of terrible because I'm an English language and linguistics student. Season 25 is probably my favourite classic season. Oh, maybe 13, but also 25. Remembrance and Happiness Patrol and Greatest Show in the Galaxy and Silver Nemesis. But we'll forget about that one. Just banging stories, and Ace is brilliant. I know that I'm not ranking them on their eras, but I just needed to appreciate them. I just love the 7th Doctor. I love how he's just a bit of a broody, manipulative guy sometimes, but then other times he's just really kooky. He's kind of like me. Moving on. Number 5. We're in the top 5, people. We're in the top 5. We're number 5, who I think maybe a year ago I tweeted was my favourite Doctor, and now he's number 5, and that feels terrible. It was Peter Capaldi as the 12th Doctor, and I love him. I just love him. I love Peter Capaldi as an actor, love the thick of it, but the 12th Doctor I think is again underrated, but I also feel as though people really do appreciate him, so that's good. Thanks for appreciating Capaldi. I'm not gonna be like his era was banging, because actually I was a bit of a critic of the Capaldi era when it went out. And I still don't really vibe with it as much as some people do, but he does have some brilliant stories. I mean, The Doctor Falls and World Enough in Time. Don't know why I said them in the wrong order. But oh my god, what a two-parter. And if his era was consistently like that, I just think that, yeah, he'd be my favourite Doctor of all time. It'd be my favourite era of all time. But, you know, we also got In the Forest of the Night. And I know that people love the Capaldi era now, and you're going to be really mad at me. But I don't know, his era is not really for me. But the 12th Doctor, just brilliant. His performance is always on form, even in things like The Girl Who Died. There's just not really much going on, but he's trying really hard. Like, he's got this shit script. Sorry, whoever wrote The Girl Who Died, I can't even remember who fucking wrote it. And he probably thought, fucking hell, I need to make this interesting somehow. So he just goes bonkers. I love him. I love the 12th Doctor. Number 4, again, at times I've said this person is my favourite Doctor, so this list feels mean. But Patrick Troughton as the second Doctor. Patrick Troughton was a Doctor who got me into Classic Who. It's also partially Rhys Shearsmith's fault, because I'm like a real big fan of Rhys Shearsmith and The League of Gentlemen and Inside Number 9. I mean, I've already mentioned Inside Number 9 on this video. And I watched An Adventure in Space and Time, and because I'm such a Rhys stan, I was like, I need to watch Patrick Troughton as a Doctor now, because I'd seen him in, I think, the 5 Doctors. I'd not actually seen the story on his own, and the only story that my dad had on DVD was The Invasion, but I fucking loved it. And I then went and watched like all of his era, got it all on DVD, and well, not all of them, not made of money. I just love the second Doctor. I feel as though this is where he's the guy who solidified Doctor Who as a long-running show. Does that make any sense? Because we had Hartnell and he could have ended there, but then Troughton came and was like, yeah, hell yeah, the Doctor can regenerate and be just as good, if not way better, because poor William Hartnell was at the bottom of this list. But I'm going to move on to David Tennant, the 10th Doctor. Again, this is going to be controversial, isn't it? Because I know that, of course, he's beloved by many, but some people can't stand him, including my dad. But he was the Doctor, my first Doctor. I grew up with him. He was almost like another parental figure to me, basically, because I started watching Doctor Who when I was 3. Like, I was 3. I was a hardcore 3-year-old. My brother's 13 and he still can't watch Doctor Who. But no, I was 3 and I was like, hell yeah, I love a bit of David Tennant, me. So yeah, he was just a huge influence on my life, and I'm really excited to see him back as the 14th Doctor. I just think that he's such a lovable Doctor, and cancel me for it if you want to, but he just is so fun, and I love his relationships with Rose, and he's shit to Martha. I must admit that he was fucking awful to Martha, and I don't know why, because she's bloody beautiful and just a brilliant person. So you missed a fucking trick there, DT. Well, 10th Doctor is the 10th Doctor. Anyway, I'm gonna move on to my number two. I feel as though he could be my number 1, but he's my number 2 according to the preference. This is so yeah, I can't even take credit for this because the preference revealer revealed it to me. I don't even know if I have these opinions. But number 2, we've got the 4th Doctor, not Colin Baker, Tom Baker. I just love Tom Baker. I love him, and I really want to meet him before the inevitable happens, which is a horrible thing to say, but I just really want to meet him. I love him, and I mean, maybe it's because I look like Lala Ward, and I just am kind of destined to love him. But I just think that he's brilliant. He's so funny, and like, even in the direst of stories, he just, my asthma still plays. My asthma hasn't bothered me for years, and as soon as I record a video, it decides to come back. Season 15 onwards, I'd say that I do love season 17 and 18 a lot, actually, and season 16, and season 15 for the most part, so I don't know what I'm on about. There are some kind of boring stories, but he just really makes them, because he's just, you can't take your eyes off him, can you? Because he's just fucking so fun. I feel like nothing I'm saying is making any sense, but basically, Tom Baker is the GOAT, even though I've still got another person ranked above him. So yeah, number 1, we've got Christopher Eccleston, and I guess he's my favourite Doctor because the preference revealer told me so, but I do absolutely adore him. One series, that's all he got, and yet he's right at the top of this list because he regenerated Doctor Who into something completely new and fresh and brought it into the 21st century. And I know that in part that was Russell. Can't just ignore Russell in that equation. But never had we seen like a character study of the Doctor like that before. I think you're going to all shout at me for that. You're going to be like, well, look at the 7th Doctor. But I mean, the 9th Doctor's traumatised. To see that and to see him form a relationship with Rose, and over the course of the series, you know, how become more optimistic and just to have fun, learn to have fun again. I just think that his performance is brilliant, and I just wish we got more of him. But then again, kind of one series is really kind of perfect, isn't it? Because it's like, oh well, maybe if you got more, we wouldn't appreciate him as much. But anyway, Bad Wolf Parting the Ways, I watched fairly recently. Oh my god, he's amazing in that. He's just amazing. I know that the top half of this list has just been me babbling about how much I love the Doctors, but yeah, he's brilliant. So I'm going to wrap up my video now because I'm absolutely babbling and it's been nearly 20 minutes and I feel terrible for keeping you this long. So yeah, that was my Doctor ranking. Please tell me what you thought of it. Maybe you completely disagree with absolutely every single thing that I said and you want to cancel me for absolutely everything that I said, and that's completely fine. You go ahead and do that because you've got a freedom of speech. So also leave your Doctor rankings in the comments and I will ponder how wrong you are. I'm kidding. Right, goodbye.